Hi guys, welcome back to Geek and Hermit. I'm Geek, and this is my brother Hermit. Do I say anything, Hermit?
I'm a writer.
Well, thank you for that input then. So today I want to do a quick video of Alan Wake, which I know it's kind of been out for a while, but you know, I'm working through my library, and I wanted to do reviews on games that I thought had good story and whatnot. So let's crack on with this. Alan Wake actually came back out in about May 2010 back in Europe. It was on the Xbox 360. I did actually buy it and play it back then, but never actually finished it for one reason or another. I've only recently actually got through it myself now. This is actually a review of the Epic Games version. They gave it away, I think it's the beginning of this year they gave it away. The PC version's been out for a few years now as well, like on Steam and whatnot, and it did actually vanish off shelves for a while. I think it's because of a music licensing issue, so I think I bought it off GOG and everything at the time because they did a sale for like £2 quickly before they had to take it off shelves, and I thought he'd never reappear again. A few months later it came back and they must have resolved their issue. Don't really know what it was. But this game at its core is kind of a horror adventure game. You play as Alan Wake, obviously. He's kind of a writer who's suffering from writer's block, so he escapes to a sleepy town with his wife to kind of recover and hopefully get his mojo back. The story kind of gets a bit crazier and crazier the deeper and further you get in the game. And at the very beginning, it's not really a spoiler, his wife vanishes, and Alan actually loses a week of his time. And it's up to you really to kind of uncover what the hell happened in this town, and it just seems to be a case of anything he writes seems to come true, and there's these little manuscripts that I've knocked about, and in this escaped week that he's lost, he seems to have wrote an entire book, which now actually seems to be coming true, and he's actually the main protagonist in it. It sounds mental, it is mad, but it's actually pretty good. It takes real story beats from like kind of, for me, kind of like Silent Hill and Twin Peaks. The Silent Hill part because it's kind of creepy horror in a small town, and the Twin Peaks just because the people in the small town are mental. Nothing really makes much sense, and just the overall feel of it just kind of feels like it is a horror game, but it does have its funny moments, like the two drunken old blokes that just kind of want to put the lime in the coconut and are quite happily singing that in the cafe. Stuff like that I find kind of funny. Now, dotted about the game, there's actually a little TV series that's called Night Springs in it as well, and you get like little proper TV clips on an actual TV that you find, and they're kind of short, they're like a couple of minutes each, and they kind of really fit into the whole world as well. It kind of fleshes it out a little bit. The first one being like multiple universes. This professor comes onto a stage with a gun and shoots himself, but he doesn't actually kill himself because he's got some multi-dimensional thing, so obviously it kills someone in a different dimension rather than him, and that kind of goes wrong. I won't spoil it in case you watch it, but they're dotted about and they kind of flesh out the world a bit, and they're actually kind of funny. Later on it kind of goes a bit more into trying to explain the overall overarching plot of actual Alan Wake, because it does get kind of complicated later on. The good points of the game. The actual story I did like myself. I liked the characterisation and everything, and I liked the plot and wondering what the hell's going on. And I kind of liked, weirdly, the manuscript pages dropping, you're finding them, reading them, and then whatever you've just read will pretty much come through in about 5 or 10 minutes in game, and I thought that was kind of cool. I like that little touch. And I must say, it should win an award for the best use of a torch in game ever, and overall lighting effects. Because you know it's like torches in games, you pull it out for 2 seconds and it runs out of battery. Not in this, you're on it constantly. It does run out, that's if you boost to actually, you can boost your torch to kind of take down enemies. It kind of sounds a bit stupid, but the enemies are called the Darkness, and you kind of have to strip off the Darkness before you can shoot them. So you kind of have to boost your torch at them to kind of take the Darkness off and then shoot them. But other than that, if you're not boosting your torch, it works perfectly, and I just love wandering around. My favourite points in the game really was when I'm a bit lost in some forest, and you're just looking around with the torch, and it's just the lighting effects in it. I absolutely love it, and it's brilliant that. It is a linear game. You can kind of tell originally, because it was in development for 5 years apparently, and it was originally going to be an open world game, and you can really see points of that in the game when you're going around it, and you kind of feel that parts of it have been cut off. It's hard to explain really. There is driving points as well. Not that many, and thank God really, because the driving mechanics are awful. But you can kind of get the feel there that it was supposed to be an open world game. It's a shame it wasn't really, but I suppose because my favourite bits are just wandering off myself into the trees, like I said. But yeah, it's a good game, and I'll cover the DLC, because I did do those two as well. Oh, one shout out as well to Barry, his best friend and agent in the game. He starts off as like an annoying American agent sort of thing, and I hated him at first. But kind of the more he comes into it, he grew on me. I suppose kind of like a fungus, really. It just comes out with some one-liners sometimes. It does make me laugh, and he's going around with his cardboard cutout of Alan Wake, because obviously he's a famous author. And he's just taking the piss all the way through with that, and it does make me laugh, and by the end of the game I actually did like him, so I think his character progression was pretty good. You'll see what I mean. When he starts off, you'll probably hate him. Now, the DLC, the first one was called The Signal. Hopefully I've not got these backwards. Which is set just immediately after the events of the first game. I can't explain too much, obviously, because I don't want to give away the plot. But not much really happens in it. You're just kind of retreading old ground, and there's an ambulance going past. Great, never mind, I can't really record this now. But yeah, it kind of retreads old ground, goes through it, and it seems to be more combat orientated. Which is good because I like the combat, but I think I was just waiting for the DLC to end, because nothing really happened plot-wise. And you kept getting really small environments with too many enemies thrown at you, so you're constantly relying on like flare guns or just using cheap tricks with the... I don't know, it just irritated me. We get 5-6 enemies spawn on you in a small room, so you can't really run and shoot and line up shots, you're just dodging like a maniac, and it irritated the crap out of me. I couldn't wait until it ended, so I wasn't keen on that one. The second DLC though, The Writer, was a lot better, and I think it's they stepped up the game for that one, and it kind of felt like a proper progression to the game. Because really, I don't know if you really would have missed anything by skipping the signal, to be honest. But yeah, The Writer, I really like it. The madness has kind of gone a bit, they toned down the combat. It's still in there, that's fine, I absolutely like it. But they do have this little new mechanic which I thought was cool, where they'd have words in the world, because obviously it's kind of writing the world as it goes on, so it sounds mental, but it's funny. Like they'll have the word bridge, and if you highlight your torch on it, then the bridge will appear, or like boom. And when you get enemies coming at you, highlight over that, something will explode and take out the enemies. And that was a really cool little feature. It does get a bit mad later on, where it's got like bird in the sky, and if you point at the bloody things, the birds will spawn. That's one thing that did irritate the crap out of me. Good mechanic, really good. It's like the Hitchcocks of birds. There's shitloads of them that come at you sometimes, that you just hopelessly pointing your torch trying to burn the little shits out of the air before they kill you. I hated the birds in the game. Good mechanic, I'm not moaning about it though, but irritating. So yeah, I think it's a good overall game. Apparently, in the next DLC for Control, Remedy's next game, it does have Alan Wake appearing in it soon. So I'm just running through Control now, trying to get to that bit to see what the hell happens, and if it's worth getting into if you're a fan of this. There's a little clip on Alan Wake's New Nightmare I'll put on the end of this. It's kind of like I can't say a sequel, it's a spin-off. It's a couple of years after it came out, and it's kind of set in mid-America, like sand and all that crap, but it's set as if it's a Night Springs TV show, so it's just all about combat, not really... It's a spin-off, it's not anything to do with the main story. I'm going to keep playing through it, but it's literally just... It's all more combat, which is good. It looks like they've cleaned up the graphics a bit, but you don't really need to play that to follow the main story, I don't think. So anyway, let me know what you think below, and I shall see you next time. Thank you very much, guys. Yeah, bye.